My name is Josh Grill. I am the missions director at World Compassion Network. I grew up here at WL, so I was baptized here. My mom still attends here. Having a heart attack at 54 is something that's shocking, especially when you're in fairly decent shape. Christmas Eve this year, we were celebrating as we normally do. Family was over. We had our normal Christmas Eve meal, played games that evening. As I said, was feeling fine. That evening, about 4 in the morning, Christmas morning, I woke up and I felt what I thought was a little bit of heartburn. I went downstairs, grabbed some Tums. Wasn't a big deal at that point in time. There was nothing alarming for me, and ended up going back to bed. About 6 a.m. on Christmas morning, my wife awakes to what she thinks is me snoring. She gave me, one of those little wife nudges to get me to wake up. There was no response. And then she reached over and grabbed me, and there was still nothing. At that point in time, she clicked the light on and pulled the sheets back, and my hands were curled back in what she called, she's a nurse, what she called a death grip, which was an indication that I wasn't getting enough oxygen at the time. So immediately she called 911. She drugged me down onto the floor, ran down the stairs, woke up my son and my daughter, and she said in that short period of time to get down the stairs and back up, I had lost all color. I was blue, and when they tried to take my pulse, there was nothing there. Those two started working on me while they were waiting for EMS services. My son was fighting for me in a different way. He grabbed his Bible, began praying. And they worked on me for about 13 and a half minutes, which is a long time to be given CPR. My daughter told me afterwards she could feel my ribs breaking while she was working on me, which is what happens with good CPR. Eventually the EMS got there. My daughter grabbed the AED, and on the second shock, they got a faint pulse, enough where they felt comfortable trying to transport me to KCH. My daughter is in the emergency room with them, and she said the doctor told her we need to intubate him. But she said the crazy thing was, as soon as they said we need to intubate him, I woke up, like from asleep, wide awake. And I asked the doctor, I said, where am I? And the doctor informed me, he said, you're in, Mr. Grill, you're in full cardiac arrest. We have given you something to try to stabilize your heart rate. It's a very surreal experience to be entering the ambulance and kind of giving yourself about a 35% chance to actually make it to Fort Wayne at that point. I'd never thought in terms of death really that seriously at the time. And we got to Columbia City, and I don't know physiologically what was going on with me at that point. I don't know if my life was starting to slip away, or if the Lord was just using this as an opportunity to speak to me. But during those moments, all my awareness of everything around me, the siren noise, the chaos that was going on inside the ambulance, all of that stuff started fading for me. The only conversation that I was having, and it was repetitive, with the Lord was simply telling him, I trust you. I trust you. The best way that I can kind of describe what was happening to me, the only way that it really makes sense to me, was that there was an inflow in my spirit of the fruits of the Spirit, especially the first three: love, joy, and peace. And as those things start to grow, they can't coexist with other things. They push all the other concerns and things that we're worried about in this life out. And with that was this growing sense of anticipation. And the only way I can describe this is if you take the most exciting aspects of your life, the days in your life that you would like to relive, and the energy and the emotion and the excitement towards those things, if you multiply that by 100, I started feeling that, this anticipation of what I was getting closer to. closer to home. You're getting closer to Jesus. And my awareness or concern for anything on this earth began leaving. And that excitement kept growing, and I kept being drawn more and more towards that thing. And at one point then I hear the cardiologist say, the stents are in, I think we've stabilized him. And what shocked me was the sense of disappointment. Immediately my thought was, like, I don't want to be back. And of course, what your wife and your daughter who just saved your life probably don't want to hear is their father and their husband babbling about not wanting to be back, right? I mean, I would die for my family, my friends, my close relationships. That disappointment for me spoke of the greatness of who God is. And when you get even just a sense, a glimpse of that, which I got, you realize that nothing else compares to that. Nothing else compares to that. God did something miraculous in my life, and against all medical odds, he's kept me here on this earth. And so the question for me that I'm asking him is, so what's the plan at this point? What is the plan? And the first takeaway is there is no fear in death for Christians, none whatsoever. All the fear, all the anxiety, all the lies that Satan tells us, our Savior, in his depth of love for us, he shouldered all of those things for us on the cross. That's one of the things that we are celebrating this Easter. Because of what he did, because of his sacrifice, because of his willingness, after living a perfect life, to shoulder our sin, our shame, our shortcomings, all of those things. He has given us a beautiful path to eternity. If what you're thinking about or the story you're hearing when I'm talking about this is an issue of cardiac health, get your heart checked, but you're missing the story on that. This is a story of God's goodness in someone's life, his willingness to teach me at a deeper level who he is. This is a story about the greatness of God.